Yeah, Mike, I'd like to ask, I mean, now, upon transmission of those results, as you've just said, by the returning officer, what happens if afterwards he then enters a contrary result on the sheets? Does it invalidate the results?
Good. That is why we have said at every polling unit, you must have your party agent. We are now having what we call various validation processes. There are stakeholders to validate a process. At the polling unit, the party agent are required to countersign what the presiding officer has signed. At the work collation center, before the form EC 8B, the performance of the party is entered, or when it's entered and signed, the party agent, they are also there to observe that process. So it is a participatory process. But the beauty of what we are doing now, to remove all the dark corners, you know, the problem in our election in the past has been that when results have been announced at the polling unit, by the time you get to the work collation center, there are issues about the figures have changed. We are now saying no. When you get to the work collation center, we now have two people right there. At that point, the e-collation person supporting the collation officer who is going to collect manually by checking that what you have sent is the same thing. So before he enters the figure into the paper, it must be checked first. So we have various stages of validation. Okay. You must validate all results.
Yeah, I have a follow-up for you.
Yeah, because I'm also wondering, because, I mean, those who think that, look, once that happens, in the case that the returning officer wants to deliberately skew the process, if he enters the contrary result, that result at that point in time will not be announced. That's what they fear.
No, Chamberlain, why would the result that is a consonance with the duplicate given at the polling unit level and another copy in terms of Form C60 pasted at the polling unit, why should it be different from what is going to be entered at the work collation center? And that's why we are saying that political parties set up your situation room like INEC. When you set up a situation room, as INEC is collating, moving to the work collation, you also do the same. But what you cannot do is that you cannot announce the result. Chamberlain, some of the fears be entertained. Understandably, we are in an environment that we are not conducting the election based on trust. We are not conducting the election in a trust environment. This is the problem we have in the country. And all of these problems created, they are all created by the elite of our country. You know, we are going for elections as if we are going for war. Look at the environment, it's charged up. Look at the level of tension. In fact, the politics overheated, both by politicians, you know, citizens, and even prophets. All of them overheated the polity with all kinds of prophecy, apocalyptic projection about our election. I feel very ashamed and embarrassed that we are going for election. It's as if we are going to a civil war. It's most unfortunate, embarrassing that elite could behave the way they are behaving.
But some of the things, some of the questions, some of the concerns raised by the opposition,
yes.
And by opposition, I don't just mean the PDP. I mean, you know, even other parties who are vying for office. Some of them have come, you know, they're valid fears. Let me tell you about the one fears raised about foreigners voting in elections, for instance. The INEC chairman did confirm that immigration has seized about 1,000 cards from people who ought not to have registered in the first place as illegal migrants or people who have come into the country as IDPs and have, you know, registered as a result. And, you know, we've been hearing concerns about, you know, opposition parties raising concern about foreigners coming to vote in the elections. Can you really assure Nigerians that, in spite of all of the concerns that have been raised by opposition members, that indeed our elections will be free and fair?
Yes. The more informed and the less marginalized citizens, particularly people who midwife what the kind of thing we are doing, the better our democracy. So I'm always very eager, very happy, delighted to get information about things that happen. So with respect to the issue about foreigners coming here, foreigners have no business with our elections. In terms of coming to vote, they only have business in terms of the fact that we belong to the world community, to know what's going on here. But actually to think that foreigners will come and participate in our election is unacceptable. There are boundaries of responsibility and accountability. The job of INEC, the institution in this country, is to conduct that election. Within this framework, it is the job of the immigration, authority to ensure that all our borders, as we have also done in Amina, Akwa Ibom. We also have adjoining boundaries with Cameroon right there. And at the level of the ICS, I was very clear and firm that this election is Nigerian election. It's not for anybody to stroll in from the Cameroon border into Nigeria. That is not going to be allowed at all. But every institution responsible to play a role must do so, because they are key stakeholders to election management. The INEC, which is going to be on the driver's seat, the Nigerian police or security agencies, political parties that are candidates, the media, and all of that group that we narrow down to this election. Two key institutions are key, which are INEC and security, that must maintain total and absolute neutrality, because failed election have implications for the stability of any country. And we must ensure that vote count, because if vote do not count, people will lose faith in democracy. People will lose faith in democracy, and indeed, the law of anticipated reaction will not be possible.
It's a fine place to leave it.
Of that. So I want to assure Nigerians.
Mr. Guinea, I think it's a fine place to leave it. We have to go. We really have to.
Thank you very much.
Should I say an amen to that?
Amen.
Thank you so much for coming on Sunrise Daily.
Mr.
Mikey Guinea is the resident electoral commissioner for Akwa Ibom State, and we hope to catch up with you during the elections themselves.
No problem.